Hey guys, welcome back. This is Inside Fitness Radio presents Total Fitness Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Matthew.
I'm Walter.
And today we are going to be talking about basically fitness influencers, but we're talking about the overuse of social media within the fitness realm. We kind of did discuss this a little while back, but we talked about bad content creation. And again, obviously you have all these fad diets, you have all these influencers that are getting paid to promote a certain brand or whatever it is. And we all know that those things are complete BS. But one of the things that isn't necessarily addressed is how frequent we are shoveled basically new information every single time we log on to one of these social media apps, and how bad that can actually be for us. And the reason why we do decide to jump from content creator to influencer to bad influencer. So we were discussing this before. What exactly have you done with your Instagram specifically that has kind of broken this mold?
Well, I like to think that I'm not just showing the same stuff over and over again. And I've been through that phase, if it is a phase of development where I've thought, okay, Monday's the gym, Tuesday's the recipe, Wednesday is the this, all that stuff. But after a while, I realized it was the fourth time I was showing a bench press. It was a recipe very similar to other recipes. And that's weird because I'm showing a recipe tonight, but it's something really good. But I think the problem became that in my rush to constantly be putting new content out, I was repeating myself, and it was then not serving me because it was just making me fall into this niche of Walter's just a guy who works out in the gym and controls his food voraciously and showed nothing about my real life.
Yeah.
Like I do have two cats. I do like to go out and do things, right? And so that's something that's got to change because I feel that, my message is bigger than that.
Yeah.
My life is bigger than that. And I think if people are going to be interested in me, they're not going to be interested if I am just showing, make sure your elbows are down and your shoulders are properly back behind you as you're doing the bench press again.
What we've developed into within the fitness industry is exactly that. We are told if you want to grow as an influencer, you have to niche down into the very specific topic that you want to be about. And here's the problem. It's been done before. And it hasn't been done just once. It's been done a million times over. So who cares to watch you bench press over and over and over again? Who cares to watch you cook a meal over and over and over again? Unless you already have that huge following that you built up from that content, then great, you're fine. But most of us don't have 2-3 million followers that are going to only go to us for that source of information. And even then, there's millions of followers that also do the same thing, millions of influencers that also do the same thing that those people will also jump to. When it comes to the overuse of this style of content and this niching down, and you have to do it this way. And I saw on TikTok the other day, somebody trying to create his own shoulder press. And I believe he called it the Marvin press after his name. This is the Arnold press. And for those who are just listening, if you don't know what the Arnold press is like, it's basically your hands are out in front of you.
Internal rotation with a shoulder press.
Thank you. That's it. His version, the Marvin's press, was a neutral grip, bring out the elbows, and then press. This is the Arnold press. This is the Marvin press.
Wow.
There is literally 45 degrees of difference.
Yeah. I mean, there are those times when that works. I mean, an internal hammer curl is not like an external or a neutral hammer curl.
Yeah.
In terms of a muscle that it will attach to. But I don't think that is enough of a change.
Well, but this is the point. The point I'm trying to make is he was trying to niche down so much and create this new style of content that he's willing to do anything. And this is it. People are willing to do anything to try to reinvent the wheel. I mean, you see it all the time,
including Bosu balls doing a chained squat on one foot with a hat. Uh,
or there's
the
a
hat
guy,
makes all the difference.
there's a guy, there's a guy now that's doing like squats on a skateboard and then tries to kickflip it.
Yeah,
Not joking. It's pretty impressive, but I'm
that's
terrified for his spine.
well, anybody watching it and trying to copy it is going to get into trouble. And I mean, he's already practiced it and
He still
filmed
messes
it
up.
under controlled circumstances.
Yeah. So again, what that happens is like you see all this, everybody's trying to do their own thing and they're trying to niche down and they're trying to reinvent the wheel, and that causes problems because it's not bad content necessarily. Like, yeah, we know what the bad content is, and that's we're avoiding the bad content for this discussion. We're talking about the overused content where people's attention span is basically 2 to 3 seconds long. If they don't see something they like, they will scroll. And fun fact, the average person scrolls through Instagram or TikTok or social media app approximately the length of the entire Empire State Building. That's a lot of scrolling.
That's a lot of carpal tunnel syndrome.
Yeah.
Right there.
Right. So think about that. If you don't have your attention grabbed in the first 2 to 3 seconds, you are not watching that person's picture, reading their description, watching the video, whatever. So people are trying to think of all these new ways to reinvent the wheel. And what that ends up causing is you jump from one thing to another because they're like, oh, you have to keep your elbows in at a 45-degree angle. And then you have somebody that says you have to actually have it at 42 degrees. And then somebody's like, no, 51 degrees is where it's at. So you jump back between all these different overused ideas because everybody is, or sorry, you jump from these overused ideas into these new fun wheel inventing creations that people are coming up with, and you are left literally doing the same exact thing. It's just, okay, great. Now my elbow is slightly more externally rotated than before, and what did it do for my workout?
You know, I think this is a lot like what happened when YouTube first came out, though, because you would have people and they would get their workout plan from YouTube. And then a week later, they'd get a new workout plan because the other one wasn't quite as much interesting or fun as they hoped it would be. And so they were changing workout plans every 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Never sticking with anything long enough to have any kind of actual value derived from it.
Yeah.
And now you're getting the same sort of thing with social media, in that people are just going, I'll take it. No, I'll take that. No, maybe that's the right thing. And so the shiny object syndrome gets really bad.
But that's it. It's like, well, the 47-degree shoulder press didn't actually build my shoulder all that much in the 2 weeks I've been doing it. So maybe I should try something completely different this time. And that's it. I mean,
it's called silicone.
Silicone and synthol. It's a good combination. And you're left with this just mess in your head. Really, it's just a mess in your head because you can't decide what should I be doing. And as Walter, you put it beautifully, it's just shiny object syndrome. You jump from one thing to another thing to another thing to another thing. You're left just going from content creator to content creator. You're not giving the time of day to one person or the other. And that's really what it comes down to. I mean, the biggest issue we're dealing with when it comes to, oh, this person has bad information, or this, it's not actually bad necessarily. Like 90% of the time, people giving this information aren't actually doing it in a bad way. It's just not for you. It's not for your goal. And you've seen so many other people talk about it in different ways, or maybe in the same way, just using different words, that you can't even discern if what they're saying is the same thing as somebody else, because somebody else has said it 1,000 times, but in different words. So you're like, no, you're wrong. Or, oh yeah, you're right. So I'm going to do it your way, but it's the same exact way as, and that's unfortunately what we have to deal with.
I think it causes problems for us as creators as well. And that we think we have to jump through hoops constantly, think in terms of what's going to get them, instead of saying, this is who I am. Mm-hmm. And what ultimately is going to get you more, I believe, in terms of business. Because let's face it, you're generally on Instagram because it's a business choice. You may not think that way, but it is. But if you say, this is who I am, you're ultimately more interesting than if you say, here's the stuff I can give you. Mm-hmm. You know, and then maybe you will gather people around you because they want to know who you are. And that's going to get you further, and it's more interesting. And you get to be more interesting because you're not stuck in this niche of, I must do this. That's what they expect all the time.
With what you're saying there, to anybody who doesn't agree with Walter, social media, if you're on social media, you are selling something. Now, that could be the idea that you live an adventurous lifestyle. If you post mountains and you mountain biking all the time and surfing, you're selling the idea that you do all those things and your life is pretty great. So typically,
I have the best cat in the world.
Yeah, my cat is amazing. My dogs are amazing. I love spending time with my family. Like, you're selling this idea to people, even though you don't think you are. But you're selling this idea, and that's exactly it. When it comes to, go on your, if anybody listening, go on your phone right now, and the last selfie you took, how many previous selfies did you take before you picked that perfect one? Probably like 100. And now, did you pick that one because you thought it was the best one because you liked it the most? Or did you pick it because you thought that people watching or people viewing it would think that's the best picture? Because I've done that before.
And did you filter it?
Well, that's it. Yeah, you always filter it. You can't just post it raw. Even the unfiltered ones, they're like, oh, this is my unfiltered beauty shot. And it's like, you sure about that? I mean, I've done that before where I would literally film a video. I'd be like, this, I don't know, like, I personally like this one. And then my fiance would be like, no, people aren't going to like that. And then I have to pick the other one.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
to make her happy.
Yeah. And it's like, because it's, yeah, mainly. It's like, we do it because we're thinking so much that the people are going to like this more. This is going to get me more views. And then it doesn't get us more views. So we're like, okay, well, now I have to jump onto the next thing. So it's the same as like finding all this crap through social media where you're jumping from one overused trend to another, one overused plan to another. As the creator, you're still doing the same thing, even if you don't think you are. And really, this is just an analogy for life. You are probably thinking, what is the next move that will make people around me feel like I am slightly superior, that I am on the right track, right? How many people go to school just to appease their parents? How many people get a house or get a job or a specific type of job just because they feel like this is what will give me the life that I want, when in reality, that life is not necessarily what they want, but what they've been told to believe.
Mm-hmm. And if you're going to keep peace in the family, if you're going to make people happy, you're going to do that. That's why I went to university. I was the oldest boy. I was going to university. And it lasted a year.
4 months.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. And that's pretty much it. It's like, are you, when you, with social media, we've gone so off topic, but it's really on topic, and hopefully you guys can understand this. With social media, the overuse and the way too fast of content, and we're just, ooh, shiny. It's the same thing with life. If you are jumping from one thing to another, if you're doing something because it's the trend, it may not actually be worth your time. And I think that's really all it comes down to. Is it worth your time to jump back and forth between fitness programs because that creator has slightly more influence? That creator is a more pretty version of that creator. Probably the exact same outcome if you just did the work from the first person. And it's the same thing. Like, are you just following the trend of getting a job and trying to climb the ladder just to make your family happy, or, you know, whatever the situation might be at the end of the day? But
so maybe what we're really saying is that it bodes well for anyone to take some time and think about what they're doing with their lives, how they're spending their time, and whether it is really, really what they want out of their lives. Because it's your life. Live it.
got deep really fast.
Well, you know, we do that, but you know, every single episode you say, well, it looks like we got off track.
Yeah.
But we're always exactly as off track as we need to be.
That's true. And this is actually a very on point discussion for what we were talking about anyways.
Yeah.
So stay safe, guys.
Stay breezy.
Take care.